Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everyone joining us from around the world. My name is Sofia Hadjiani, Assistant Program Specialist at the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, and I'm very delighted to welcome you to our webinar today with a title From Chalkboards to Chatbots, Educating Adults in the AI Era. Today's session is part of our Lifelong Learning Global Webinar Series, UIL's webinar series, and we are thrilled to have such a big group today. We're almost 160 participants already. And this presence reflects the growing interest of you in the area of AI and also the role of AI in adult education and lifelong learning. Today, we will discuss current trends, research, practice, and we will examine digital empowerment and responsible use of AI, and also highlight innovative strategies for integrating AI in adult learning. We're also very proud to launch our new self-learning course with the title Digital Empowerment for Adult Educators in the Age of AI and Other Emerging Technologies, which has been developed with the support from Shanghai Open University. Before we begin, I would like to give you a few housekeeping notes. So the webinar is conducted in English and is being recorded. Please use the Q&A section anytime to share your questions or your comments. We really encourage you to participate actively today, as your thoughts and your experiences are really invaluable. Please indicate when you put your message on the Q&A sections which speaker you would like to respond if you have any specific question. And at the end of the presentations, if time allows, we may spend some time to reply live to some of your questions from the speakers. Now, to officially open our session, it is my pleasure to invite Isabel Kempf, the director of the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, to share her opening remarks and to set the stage for our discussion. Isabel, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sophia, and good morning and good afternoon and good evening wherever you are. It's a real pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar, which is a wonderful opportunity for us together reflect on how artificial intelligence is reshaping not only adult education, but the very idea of lifelong learning itself. AI is powering new ways to teach, to learn, and to connect. But with innovation comes also real challenges. AI data centers now produce nearly 3.7% of global greenhouse gas emissions, for example, more than even the aviation industry together. Every digital lesson, every chatbot conversation carries a hidden environmental footprint, which we really need to factor into our planning and learning. And while technology advances rapidly, not everyone is keeping pace. As our recent data shows, 32% of people remain still offline, and 754 million youth and adults still lack basic digital skills and access to content in languages that people actually speak. So vulnerable groups and marginalized groups such older adults, migrants, refugees, and people with disabilities face additional barriers also, from limited access to technology to systemic exclusion from digital spaces. And then, of course, we also face the challenge of misinformation. Last year, for example, over half of a million deepfakes circulated on social media, fueling scams and eroding trust. Cybercrime involving deepfakes surged by more than 700% in the same period of time. So in this landscape, we think that human skills such as critical thinking and digital literacy are really becoming essential present and future skills. Yet amid all these challenges, of course, we see also great potential. Adult education can be a really powerful force for responsible citizenship. And when we help adults to build digital skills, we are not just teaching them to use new tools. We are empowering them to participate, adapt, and thrive in a rapidly changing environment. The Marrakesh Framework for Action, adopted at the 7th International Conference on Adult Education in 2022, reminds us that lifelong learning is a human right and also a public good. That right must include digital inclusion and critical AI literacy, and the responsible use of technology for all. And of course, the proliferation of AI raises ethical questions too about privacy, bias, fairness, and civic action. We need to design and deploy systems that are transparent, accountable, and supportive to all learners, and not just a few privileged few. So, how can we work together and what can we do together? First, let us champion inclusion. We must put marginalized groups at the center of our lifelong learning agenda and advocate for open source tools and public digital infrastructure. Second, let us build digital resilience. We need to invest in digital literacy, critical thinking, and fast checking skills to help learners navigate in an increasingly complex information environment. Third, let us also promote sustainability. Digital transformation must be environmentally responsible, minimize energy use and carbon emissions, and promote the use of renewable energy. And finally, let us lead on the ethics as well. Every AI system used in education should be designed to be transparent, fair, and accountable. So, at the heart of this agenda are really also our adult educators. They are the agents of change in lifelong learning, reaching diverse and marginalized groups, and guiding communities through transformation. Their professional development in digital competencies is essential, as they must continually adapt to evolving technologies and also to the needs of the learners. By empowering adult educators, we unlock their transformative potential to create inclusive, ethical, and resilient learning environments. This is why, with the support of Shanghai Open University, ULI is very proud to launch today a new self-learning course on our UIL Learning Hub called Digital Empowerment for Adult Educators in the Age of AI. This course will be a major step towards addressing the challenges that I have just outlined, bridging the digital divide, embedding ethics and inclusion in digital learning, and ensuring that technology really serves all of us. I want to thank you for being part of this really collective journey towards digital empowerment and for your commitment to adult education and also lifelong learning. I wish you all a very rich and inspiring discussion, and thank you for your participation. Over to you, Sophia. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Isabel, for your inspiring words and for highlighting the importance of digital empowerment, inclusion, ethics, digital literacy, and all the other concepts that will be discussed today. Now, while I'm counting already 330 participants in our webinar, thank you for that. I'm very pleased to give the floor to Annapurna Japan, Program Specialist for Digital Learning at UIL, who will moderate our main session of the webinar today and guide us through today's presentations and discussions, and of course, launch the course. Annapurna, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Sophia, and thank you, Isabel, for setting the stage. I am Annapurna Ayyappan, and I have the pleasure of moderating today's panel. So in today's panel, we have a very interesting lineup of speakers who will be exploring AI in adult education from different perspectives, but they are all connected, from critical reflection to inclusion to responsibility, to lifelong learning ecosystems, and finally, to low-tech innovation for the most marginalized. Before we start this panel, I would like to remind our panelists that you have 10 minutes to present. And to our participants, again, I remind you to please use the Q&A box to post your questions to our speakers, and our speakers will respond to them during the session. At the end of all the presentations, if there is enough time, we will also have a short live Q&A session with all our participants. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our first speaker for today. Our first speaker is Dr. Marcella Milana. She is from the University of Verona, and she will be speaking on the topic of artificial intelligence, conversational agents, and generative AI, implications for adult education and practice and research. In Dr. Marcella's presentation, we will be diving right into the heart of today's theme, which is, we all know and we are all seeing it in our work, that conversational agents and chatbots are increasingly used in adult education for feedback, tutoring, and administrative tasks. But there are some questions and debates going around. Do they risk replacing human roles? Can they be used unethically? And what are the implications of that? So Marcella, I invite you to please take the floor and help us to reflect on how to approach these technologies critically and responsibly. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Let me share the screen so that I would like to thank you very much for the invitation to this webinar, and thank also for setting the stage by Isabel Camp. I'm sharing with you some thoughts that derive from my familiarity with some of the literature that is growing on this area. And I hope this would provide some thoughts for thinking that also in connection with the presentation from other presenters. Well, the background, I mean, has been already mentioned somehow, so just let me recall the fact that conversational agents have evolved quite rapidly, and especially in the last few years, we have seen an advance in the use of machine learning, natural language processing, that makes so that there is a plethora of AI tools that can, in fact, mimic natural language and conversation. This means also that we have also seen an increase in the interactions that we all have, either consciously or unconsciously, starting with basic chatbots to more complex system. We do use them in everyday life, either at work, during the studies, and in our spare time. So, of course, there is a general idea that they can support also human learning, human work, and but there are also many concerns, and I would like to touch upon both of these during my conversation. So if we start by what is good, and of course, I would relate these to specifically the field of adult education, thinking of the educators, but also the learners. Well, we could recognize a number of benefits in the use of AI-powered tools. This goes from enhancing the accessibility, but only in case people have access to these tools. As Isabella Camp has recalled, not everybody has this access. But assuming they have, they could enhance accessibility and engagement. And in adult education, the use of these tools could increase, for example, learner motivation, support their learning needs, etc. There is also a great opportunity and possibilities for personalizing learning support. And this is especially of relevance for adults with special needs, for example. But they can also support skills development and feedback because they can support continuous improvement for more effective learning. On an administrative level, they can also help to make, for example, adult education provision more effective for educators, can help educators to free part of their time for more tedious or administrative tasks so that they can dedicate more of their time and energy to more important tasks. And also in terms of what they can do for learners on top of educators, they can facilitate critical reflections. I mean, when we interact, for example, with ChatGPT or similar tools, this could, in fact, depending on how we use them, they could also encourage deeper cognitive engagement, but also becoming more aware of how these tools work and interact. However, there are important limitations, risks that should be, of course, acknowledged. The first, I think the most relevant from my viewpoint is the inaccuracy of these tools, but also the biased information that they can provide. So learners especially could receive incorrect knowledge information, and this could affect the quality of their learning, but also the trust, and could, in fact, work as influencing their ideas in the wrong direction. There is also a lack of emotional and communicative nuances, and we know that especially for adults, strong engagement is very important, even more so when we're speaking of learners that could be considered as vulnerable in many ways. Among the other limits is the risk of reducing critical thinking. So this is quite interesting, because before, between the benefits, I somehow said that this could encourage this kind of thinking, but at the same time, it could also reduce some kind of thinking, depending very much how these tools are being used, both from educators and learners. But the most important is also issues about ethical concern. This could also include concern about plagiarism, cheating on the part of students, but most importantly, there are also issues linked to data protection and security that could raise concern about, how data by educators or learner are being used from the educators, data from learner, but also from other institutions when it comes to educators' data. And last but not least, there is also an issue of how aware are the users and how much they do understand the gaps that AI-powered tools can bring. So there is a risk of over-trusting these tools without being fully aware of the way they function. So in this respect, it becomes essential, of course, to promote what many call AI literacy. Here I provide a general definition that recall a set of competencies that enables individuals to critically evaluate AI technologies, communicate and collaborate, so not to trust only what the communication from AI-powered tool comes, but interact with that effectively and use AI-powered tools online, at home, and in the workplace. However, in the literature based on research, there is also a more critical voice towards this idea of AI literacy, speaking more of AI capabilities, especially when it comes to adult education and adult learners, and especially thinking of how they use these tools, not only in the learning context, but also in their everyday life and in their working context. AI capabilities have been identified in different areas. Some are technology related, so these are connected to the capacities for understanding how AI-powered tools works, their logic, but there are also capabilities that are work related. So knowing how AI-powered tools can or cannot do in support of specific jobs and tasks. And then there are also those capabilities that connect to human-machine that is human-machine related. So knowing how to interact in an ethical and effective manner with AI-powered tools is not something that comes itself, it's something that should be learned. And finally, another area of AI capability is related to learning. So knowing how AI-powered tool can stimulate learning, what kind of learning can or cannot be achieved through these tools. So now, if we think also of the way that these tools can help research connected to adult education, here as well, there are many areas for possible applications. And here I list just a few that goes from helping researchers with reviewing and synthesizing literature, with designing research, identifying the right methodologies, but also to help collaboration, for example, in research teams. They can also help to draft abstract, to, for example, in the writing of grant proposal for seeking for research funds, and they can also help in other ways. But each of these possibilities somehow has important implication, and consideration should be made for how these may affect the trustfulness of the research. There are ethical elements in this respect as well. And here I'm listing in this slide a few implications, both positive and negative. So for example, being aware that these tools cannot replace human judgment, so they can be more of a support but cannot substitute. And when it comes to the critical validation of research, these recall that the researchers, researchers maintain academic rigor and accuracy, and so they should be able to recognize the possible errors or bias. So once again, here return the idea that we cannot delegate, but rather see these tools as critical companion, of which criticality needs to be developed from the learner and the educators as well. So to conclude, here I recall the AI Act from the European Commission that tried to regulate the use of these tools, and especially because in that act, AI literacy is also mentioned as something that should equip providers, deployers, and affected persons with the necessary notions to make informed decisions. And this is, I think, at the core of the conversation from my viewpoint. Therefore, independently of how we feel about AI-powered tools, whether we are enthusiastic or very scared about them, they are inescapable, but it's important to consider the inescapable ethical dimensions that these imply in their use for education providers, adult educators, researchers, or learners. And I stop here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marcella. That was really very enriching and comprehensive. And you introduced us to so many different angles and perspectives, especially adult education research and practice. So I will just highlight some of my key takeaways. So first thing is that thanks for highlighting for us the benefits as well as the risks of AI and the implications in adult education, particularly the lack of emotional connection, questions of ethics, and reduced critical thinking, or over reliance, as you put it. From your presentation, I also appreciate how you have outlined the implications and applications for adult education research. This is really important for our field. And also, I think the key word is trust and critical engagement. So for all our participants, I think the key is building the ability of our adult educators to make informed, critical decisions about the AI systems, and also questioning the role of these AI systems as critical companions, as you put it, Marcella, and understanding their capabilities, and even maybe using their limitations as opportunities for deeper reflection. So thanks once again, Marcella. I think it was really comprehensive. Now, I would, before we move to the next speaker, I want to remind our panelists that please check the Q&A box. There's a flood of questions already, so you could already start responding to them in the Q&A box. So now our next speaker, let's move to our next speaker, Ms. Rashidat Ibrahim. She is a doctoral researcher at Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria. She will today be talking to us about inclusive adult learning in the AI era, where we are confronting inequality, fostering critical and analytical skills, and empowering the marginalized. So where Marcella explored how we can engage critically with AI tools, Rashida today she will take us to the question of who is actually benefiting from AI in education. Can AI confront systemic inequality rather than reinforce it? So Rashida, we are really looking forward to your take on this. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rafida Ibrahim Madela from Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria. It's my privilege to be here today discussing inclusive adult learning in the AI era, confronting inequality, fostering critical and analytical skills, and empowering the marginalized learners. Next. Adult learning is different from children's education. Adult learning is shaped by lived experience, responsibilities, and practical realities in learning life. But in today's, where we are in the digital era, in the era of artificial intelligence has emerged a powerful lifelong learning. It promotes flexibility, accessibility, and personalized learning. Yeah, artificial intelligence can be trained in such a way that it tries to personalize your learning to how you want it. Now, AI and adult learning. How do we make sure that we confront the issue of inequality, we foster both critical and analytical skills, and we empower the marginalized learners. Marginalized learners in this context are the old adult learners who might have been away from classroom. Some might not even have exposed to classroom at all. We use AI for personalized learning. As AI, you can use AI tailored learning, AI tailored learning design, and it's tailored towards where the learners are, not where the curriculum wants them to be. Okay, the curriculum stated that learners should have learned A to Z, but our learner is somewhere around D and E. Then the AI tailored learning, personalized learning, is going to work in line with those learners. When it comes to personalizing learning, AI can also AI can also tailor learning towards culture. You see, those are the adult learners really cherish their culture. They don't joke with their culture, and they are ready to settle for knowledge that is related to them, that they are confirmed with, in which all these are going to be provided by AI. But majority of these old learner, the adult learner, they are not majority of them are not in urban settings. They are in rural settings. That is where the addressing of systemic barriers come. That is, how do we tackle digital divide? For the learners that are not that does not have smartphone, there should be investment in giving them digital tools such as smartphones, such as subsidizing the network connectivity. There could be a relationship between the community and the adult learning institutes rather, to provide a router or a Wi-Fi for the society in order for the learning to take place. Imagine a trader that wants to learn something online but could not connect to internet in order to get this. And imagine a woman at home, an old woman at home, that wants to use AI to get some information, but could not have smartphone or a digital tool or a digital device to test it. Then that digital training should also be given to these adult learners. It should not be the chalkboard that we normally they are all exposed to. The learners should be exposed to digital skills, and this could be done through community relationships. AI-driven support is also very, very important. Through there is an application called Study Buddy that helps the learner to learn. It doesn't just generate information. The moment the questions are asked, it's explained. It also prompts questions. Something similar to that is also on ChatGPT that almost every one of us know about. It is the prompt is study and learn. If you ask the prompt what is so, it's going to tell you this and this. It's going to explain it to you, and it will also ask questions again. Learning should be tailored towards that, not about generating. Not about telling the learners this is how you generate this is how you generate this. No, learning should be tailored. Next slide. Learning should be tailored towards personalizing towards their culture, towards their experiences, towards what they have been aware before. Next slide, please. Next slide. Learning should be tailored towards their experience. Since AI features accessibility, it incorporates educational tools. Some of these educational curriculum should be in a way that if they access, like most of all these CDL, the distance learning facilities, the moment they have access to internet, they are going to, from their digital tools, they are going to get access to whatsoever they need to learn. And the learning, the curriculum, the knowledge should be culturally relevant to the focus group. Yes. And they should also be engaged. Not okay, this is this. No. The learning should be student centered learning. As I said earlier, they learn through experience. Experience. It is purely experiential learning. Now we are talking about fostering the equitable. That is the marginalized, the old adults that have been marginalized already. We want to we want to foster equal access in education in AI usage in AI literacy. This is going to be done by bridging the digital divide. We all know that in the rural settings, there is digital device, they lack digital tools, there is lack of internet connectivity. They also do not have the skills required for AI literacy or for AI educational education towards AI. All this should be invested into. And when it comes to uh, learning through AI, the learners should know that should be aware that over dependence, over reliance on AI, next to over reliance on AI is going to weaken their critical analytical skills. And it is all known that adults sharpen their learning, their critical and analytical thinking through problem solving, through dialogue, and etc. If these are not being done, if their questioning techniques is not being enforced, next slide please. If their questioning techniques is not being used, their critical and analytical skills is not going to be upgrading. It will be reducing, and there is going to be okay. For instance, in the young learners recently, it was realized that most of the young learners are so dependent on AI. Next slide, please. Are so dependent on AI, so that even if you ask them questions, if they're submitting a result or an assessment, a test, an assignment given to them, to submit. If they are submitting it, even at the point of submission, if you ask them, okay, what is the relationship between so and so? From what you have said, what is this and this from what you have written? Majority of them may be telling you another thing entirely. Majority of them they may even be diverse, they may not even be able to say anything. Because for everything generated through AI, without learning, for generating sake, for solving problem, that is being used as a quick tool for solving problem, there will be knowledge being passed. Learning won't take place at all. There will not be learning taking place at all. Everything is just going to be blank. The learner should know that there should be questioning techniques. They should be able to ask it themselves, and there should be clear learning between the learner and the AI. So it shouldn't be all only be the AI giving you something. And we all know that it is not only the adult learners we are talking about. We have some adult learners that are into professional and academic research or professional and academic program. Yeah, even though AI can do this, it can do that, it can do so many things. Don't let us forget that it also has its own backside. It can lead to losing both critical and analytical skills. It can lead to losing problem solving skills. It can lead to losing so many things that the education and the AI promise to give us if it is over depend on. That is, in when it comes to the young learners, it can lead to skill mismatch unemployability in the society. And when it comes to old people, the old learners, the adult learners, it can lead to not achieving the rationale behind carrying out this program if it is overly dependent. Because high output is going to be more sophisticated than whatsoever they want. As a matter of fact, if it is more dependent on, it can lead to another colonial master for the users if it is not responsibly used and if it is not ethically used. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Rashidat. We are hearing a lot nowadays about the possibility of AI creating more divides. But in your presentation, you highlighted some examples and strategies that shows that AI can also be a force for widening, expanding opportunities. So for adult education, if I have to just take away one key reflection for me, is that this means combining AI-driven tools with inclusive practices, community engagement, sustainable solutions, and what I really liked in your slide was about empowerment through education that can empower all adult learners. So connecting with what Marcella presented previously, I'm taking away the point on questioning techniques. That is, how can we build the capacity to ask and question the information presented without blindly trusting or without, over-reliance on the generated output, as you raised it very well in your presentation. Thanks, Rashidat, once
Okay.
again, and stay on and please respond to the questions in the Q&A box. I will now move to our third speaker, Dr. Caitlin Bentley. She is a senior lecturer at King's College in London, and she will be speaking today on responsible artificial intelligence in education. So if Marcella invited us to reflect on capabilities, AI capabilities, and Rashidat on inclusion, Caitlin is asking us to consider responsibility and global frameworks. The key question, Caitlin, is what does it mean for us to embed AI safely, ethically, and inclusively in education? We're really looking forward to learning more also about your work on digital empowerment, open resources, and professional development for adult educators. So over to you.
There we go. Please let me know if you can't hear me and I will speak up. So thank you so much for having me here today, and thanks for the introduction, Annapurna. And it's a great pleasure to be alongside all of these amazing academics and researchers as well. I'm also an academic from King's College London. I'm the deputy chair of the Responsible AI UK Skills Pillar. And I've also been working with UIL and the Shanghai Open University for the past year on how we can enhance digital competencies of adult educators worldwide. I just wanted to say a little bit about what Responsible AI UK is. It is a £30 million research program funded by the UK's Research and Innovation unit. It has a mission to enable responsible and trustworthy AI to power benefits for everyday life. We're multidisciplinary and we focus on systems-based approaches to designing, deploying, and regulating AI technology. So building technology and implementing it is both our focus. And to me, education is a prime example of a complex human AI system. And what's most important to me is considering what AI should do in education, not just what it can do. Part of our program has a skills pillar, which is focused on translating research into impact, creating opportunities for our stakeholders to harness AI's potential and to minimize its harm. We've invested £500,000 in open education resources focused on schools and underserved communities, which represents our commitment to making AI safe, inclusive, and beneficial for all. And I'll talk a bit about our resources today. But I want to talk first about how adult education is really crucial for AI transitions. My research examining AI skills policy across 7 countries, we found that work-based training and upskilling is a huge priority for those countries, which largely happens outside of formal education. And increasingly, adults are turning more and more to free online learning to learn about AI. But in our review of over 200 UK resources, it raised significant questions about the relevance, trustworthiness of the providers and the learning design itself. So to me, there's a real gap in adult education where AI is concerned. AI is having an impact on everyone, not just workers, directly and indirectly. And adult education and educators have a really big role to play in delivering quality education for all in this respect. And so I want to talk today about how do we actually do that, deliver quality education for all in this environment. And what I argue is that we need to focus on digital empowerment. Digital empowerment goes beyond AI literacy. It's about what it takes for AI to improve our lives, essentially. And when we think, especially about what we can do to make sure that AI is beneficial for all, and also quality education for all, we still have a long way to go in terms of changing the technology itself, the AI tools, how we use them, how we also come together as governments, communities, educators, and learners to make adult education systems better. And we really need everyone to get involved in these conversations around AI transitions, to recognize that the story of AI isn't over yet. There's still a lot of work to do to make it safe and beneficial for everyone and to improve our adult education systems worldwide. So I want to first talk about 2 of our responsible AI UK skills projects that have created a reflexive approach to critical thinking and AI education that have been very successful in teaching about AI and its impacts. And I just want to touch on, the popular frameworks for critical thinking, like Bloom's taxonomy. Often these frameworks assume that knowledge exists out there and content just needs to be learned well enough for people to use it creatively. But for complex challenges that are often worsened by AI now, like climate change, misinformation, hate speech, we need empowerment-based education, which positions learners as independent thinkers who question what's happening around us and who really benefits from AI as well. So Konstantina Martsuku's Gen AI SIS project, she's from Robert Gordon University in the UK. She taught students to explore their identities and generative AI through self-reflection, co-creating animated cartoons about young people's emotional experiences with AI. And then through those cartoons and reading others' cartoons, they could compare their experiences with others, including their disadvantaged peers, which helped them to see that learning to use generative AI comes also with responsibility about equity across their peers. Alternatively, a project led by Jeff Cox at London South Bank University, they adapted John Berger's Ways of Seeing concept, which was a BBC show from the 1970s. I'm not sure if anybody remembers that. But they adapted that idea to examine how machines or AI algorithms see things versus human perception. And through that, the project taught students to question AI systems and their biases. But more importantly, they were asking students to think about how we look at things, and art in this case, but really it can be anything, how the way we look at something says something about us and our culture. And when we think about critical thinking as well, the way that artists think critically through provocation, socially engaged ways, inspiring creativity, delight. These are the ways to empower people to think critically that are necessary and needed in our future. And it's, quite different from the way we might think or hear about critical thinking in a lot of our STEM subjects, because we think about AI as a STEM subject, but we have other ways to foster critical thinking that are really important. So overall, to me, these approaches develop reflexivity, the ability to examine one's own thinking and your own position. And in an AI-dominated future where we need people who can, fix these big messes that we've left behind, like climate change, we need to be able to work collaboratively to notice injustices and think critically, sometimes like artists through provocation and creativity. Secondly, when we think specifically about adult education and the needs of the most at risk of discrimination or disadvantage, I think there's a real need to consider how we imagine where education or learning takes place and how it's delivered. And this is really a strength of, the lifelong learning agenda. In another project from Responsibly UK, Dr. Reem Telhook, along with the Action Foundation, they set up a computer club for young refugees, where young people, they face increased risk of encountering misinformation harmful to them and their communities. So in the UK last year, for example, we had, misinformation fueled very harmful riots. And so in that context, Dr. Telhook's project, it's showing us that, educators may struggle to sometimes understand these experiences, and they might not even perceive the risks of using AI for some of these communities either. And also when working with refugees, having an open space like a club was really important. They found that the circumstances of the young people, it often led to absences because they had other responsibilities or they moved. And usually, even though the club was focused on AI, they often needed other support with basic literacy, English, digital skills. So having a club with a less formal structure where there wasn't any pressure on what you needed to know to be able to come was really crucial. And in the end, they've developed a series of little bite-sized activities that cover both the benefits and risks of AI in a balanced way. And I have to say they're a lot of fun, and I've used them myself with my students. And I encourage you to download them at the end of the presentation as well. I'm also researching maritime AI training with Seabot Maritime and Frontier Robotics. And I think in AI transitions, we might also forget about the historical inequalities that exist in our societies and how AI or education might either reinforce or reduce these. And so in the maritime sector, for instance, women are hugely underrepresented. Part of the reason for that is because to become a seafarer, you often have to go out to sea for months at a time, and women with caring responsibilities or other women have, consistently reported experiencing violence at sea. But now with maritime autonomous systems or AI coming in to help drive ships from the shore instead of at sea, there's an opportunity where women could take up these new roles. But if we think about how we've always learned how to drive a boat in the past, we need to rethink where education takes place again, moving, learning some of these skills out of the places where they used to take place and into working environments or simulated training and so forth. And finally, to me, it's clear that educators globally are overwhelmed, overworked, underpaid. Now that we have AI to deal with, it feels often that it's another responsibility that sometimes causes more work than it eases. And a lot of the educators that I speak with, they don't see AI as their area. They don't see how it is relevant to their subject. And often they don't feel like they know enough about AI to teach others how to use it or how to engage with AI and its impact on our lives and society. And I want to highlight an AI residence approach that was taken by Professor Judy Robertson's team at the University of Edinburgh. In their AI in secondary schools project, they started an AI residency program which helped teachers across subjects and regions of Scotland in secondary schools design lessons for their specific subject areas. And that approach really invested in educators. It helped to support a network and professional learning across their schools and communities. And likewise, in another one of my projects last year, a group of my colleagues across different departments in my university, we came together to create new curriculum resources where we were sort of interested in finding a way to teach students how to use AI responsibly, while trying to think about how can we actually do this from an education for sustainable development perspective. So helping them to deal with both the benefits and the challenges in a way that really reinforces our approach to education as well. And to me, the thing that I remember the most about that project was by getting the students together and working on complex challenges like climate change, it was so easy for the students to recognize the limitations of AI when they started working collaboratively with each other. And so I really hope that we don't lose sight of the value of collaborative learning due to the engine which, seems to be driving AI education at present, which is a lot about personalization. So ultimately, I think we need to see in adult education in particular the value of investing in educators. We bring a lot to the table that can support just AI transitions. And I'm certainly concerned about the view that AI will replace or minimize the role of educators in adult education. So that is all for me. And AI in education to me must be about empowerment, where education develops critical reflexive thinkers ready not only to use AI effectively, but to engage with its impacts on our lives and society towards sustainable development. We have a mailing list where you can get updates on the launch of our resources that I shared today. Some are not yet available, but will be soon. And I have links to the resources that already are available. And please do go and visit some of those websites to access, download, remix, reshape any of those resources.
Thanks, Caitlin. Thank you for such a rich presentation. I really enjoyed it. I think from your presentation, I'm going to keep one question that stuck with me, which is we should think about what AI should do and not only about what AI can do. Especially in today's times, you highlighted about misinformation, you spoke about climate change and other big issues that are coming with AI transitions. It's really important for us as a community of educators and education and the larger global education community to keep this idea of we are also responsible. So to keep our own responsibility and to not forget the already existing inequalities and barriers. So if I have to summarize one key takeaway from your presentation, it would be that responsible AI asks us to consider the idea of empowerment-based education, or as you describe it, giving educators and learners the agency to question, shape, and benefit from AI. And this is, of course, asking us to invest more in professional development, and it's our collective responsibility and a commitment to protect the most vulnerable. I think we should not forget the human element and the relationships that you highlighted, that we must always keep that front and center of our work. So thanks, Caitlin. With that, I would like to move to our fourth speaker, who is Dr. Jun Xiao. He is from Shanghai Open University, where he heads their digital learning, and he will be speaking to us today on how AI can empower education from a lifelong learning perspective. So while Caitlin reminded us of artificial intelligence and the ethical responsibilities that come with it, Dr. Xiao brings to us an institutional perspective today. So his presentation is answering the question, which is how can universities and lifelong learning systems leverage AI to provide inclusive, personalized, and engaging learning opportunities at scale? So we are really looking forward to also hearing your insights, Dr. Xiao, from Shanghai's smart education ecosystem. So the floor is yours.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, colleges. I'm Junxiao from Shanghai Open University. It's an honor to share the innovative initiatives from Shanghai Open University and present the application of AI experience. My topic is about AI-enabled smart education ecosystem. The Chinese government places great emphasis on the application of AI and has introduced the Education Strong Country construction planning outline, which outlines a series of strategic measures aimed at advancing the integration of AI and education. So there are many strategies like enhancing digital literacy of teachers and students and others. This is our, we think is very high strategy in China. Now SOU build a digital lifelong learning system for citizens serving 8 million people. We have applied AI to power this system, like the Credit Bank for Lifelong Learning, the Shanghai Educational Resource Center, and the Smart Learning Center. By enhancing existing online platforms for degree, non-degree, and community education, AI makes service more precise, efficient, and sustainable. And now we also design a framework for AI-empowered smart education to improve the accuracy of AI. Advancements are required in capability, memory, and knowledge. Based on this, we develop agent cluster to advance the human-AI collaboration model. AI will also be integrated with contextualized, gamified, and personalized learning models to support 5 application scenarios like teacher learning, training, and research. Finally, AI teacher training and smart learning design guidance will be introduced to ensure sustainable development. This is a framework architecture. Next, I will introduce the application of AI in 3 scenarios. We only select some important scenarios. The first one is AI-enabled learning for learning. To support personalized learning, intelligent learning assistants have been created for middle-aged and older learners. I will introduce its functions from the following 4 aspects. First, when learners are watching a learning video through natural language real-time interaction, AI learning assistants based on large language models can provide high-quality knowledge support. Second, learners also receive emotional support during the online learning process. When learners express difficulty, it can response supportively. For example, I understand you. This is indeed challenging. So from our practice, we think emotional support very important for learners, for adult learners. So we need to use proper design to support emotional feedback. Next, we use course knowledge to train AI nice, improving their accuracy in answer questions for learners. Last, based on question asked by learners, AI nice also provide personalized recommendations for course learning resources. For example, learners ask it to recommend learning materials and videos according to their learning ability. So the personalized recommendation is very important for learners. So from our research, we guided learners use AI tasks in online courses and collected 86 valid response from this survey on their learners on their learning experiments. So you can find some findings. The results indicated that the system effectively enhanced the learners' online experiments. Learners have a high level of learning experience through real-time interaction and personalized guidance, with perceived ease of use received the highest ratings, followed by the perceived usefulness, cognitive engagement, and satisfaction. So this is we think from the results we can find some interesting findings. We also found that it can have a positive influence on learners' overall satisfaction by encouraging both behavior and emotional engagement with online learning. In addition, the perceived ease of use and emotional engagement significantly and positively influence the future learning intentions of learners. So we think easy of use and emotional engagement very important for learners. Next, I will introduce AI-enabled training. So we need train learners' skills to enhance the learning experience. We use AI in the metaverse to support teacher and training, such as metaverse training and adult English AI training in our university. We developed the open learning metaverse scenario architecture. It's used in scenarios such as the AI course virtual space, a smart financial virtual space, and others. So there are many scenarios. For example, in the AI course virtual space, through virtualized instruction and personalized tutoring, students can engage with digital experts. So we designed the digital experts and gain immersive learning. This approach effectively supports learners with weak abstract thinking and promotes the shift from knowing to higher out learning objectives. In the cognitive disorder-friendly community with the metaverse, this program uses experimentation, game-based, and practice training methods, transforming learning into immersive hands-on activities. It's not only created virtual scenarios where learners can experience cognitive impairments, fostering understanding and empathy, but also enables professional training to build practical skills. This program we think is very important for us. It's a good example for AI and the metaverse be used. This project has received high recognized from the media. Learners comment that the system feels warm and easy to follow, like a patient friend, not a machine. This our users give the feedback. We have also developed intelligent English training for adults. The digital people provides many such as reading practice and so on. The AI agent guides the users to following the script to practice common vocabulary. So we use the AI agent playing a role in our learning environment, guide the students, guide the learners to learn interaction. Okay, the last one is AI-enabled research. The intelligent guidance for adult thesis, which helps our students in writing their graduation thesis by supporting topic selection, literacy research, thesis proposal, thesis outline, and draft coach. This is AI can give our students support, but we don't need AI. We don't need AI to replace writing the papers. So you can find in human AI, our design principle is human AI. In human AI collaboration model, students write their paper with AI support. Teachers provide guidance, and the AI system optimizes interaction feedback. So it's a human AI collaboration. Okay, that's the last. We building on the AI-enabled education areas described above. In the future, we need to further use the advantages of AI and promote effective human AI collaboration to deeply construct a new educational ecosystem grounded in AI, ethics, AI literacy, and competencies and technological specifications for AI in teaching and learning. So this is very, we think is a basement. Build this basement, we focus on learning experiments and provide different kind of AI support, AI service, and we can. We think that the ecosystem can be built. So that's my all my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Xiao, for this very rich presentation, and very interesting to see how Shanghai Open University and other universities like Shanghai Open University can actually go beyond degree education and become hubs of lifelong learning. And thanks for also describing the metaverse and how AI-enabled learning ecosystems is making learning accessible to all citizens in Shanghai. I think your examples were really interesting, whether it was about the AI agent, and you spoke about how AI can also be used in human AI collaboration models for research. But I think, like you said, I will quote you, we don't need AI to write our papers, but we need to really build and invest and see how AI collaboration models through feedback, trust, and ethical safeguards can really take this in a very engaging and critical way, and not just directly asking them to generate our answers for us. So thank you, Dr. Xiao, for this. And we will be sharing to all the participants here. I see on the Q&A box, there are a lot of requests for the PPTs of the speakers. Yes, this is a lot of information to digest. So I will be compiling all the presentations and sharing the link with you so that you have access to their PPTs. So with that, we move to our final speaker for today, who is Miss Claire Mongo. She's the co-founder of Shula in Kenya, and she will be speaking to us today about how we can reach youth with disabilities, refugees, and migrants in East Africa through AI-enabled digital content delivery. So if Professor Xiao showed us large-scale ecosystems at the university level, Claire is going to bring us to the grassroots. So the question for her is, how can AI-powered solutions work in low connectivity environments on simple devices that are familiar and accessible to learners like SMS, WhatsApp, mobile devices basically, and how can we reach the most marginalized learners? So we are looking forward to learning from your experience and your practical lessons from East Africa. So Claire, please take the floor and take us through away. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Great to see you. I hope you can see my screen. Yes, I'm Claire. I'm the co-founder of Shule, which is headquartered in Nairobi, Kenya. And we are helping organizations reach hard to reach populations in Africa through AI and accessible technology like SMS and WhatsApp. At the moment, we are reaching more than 350,000 users. This slide needs to be updated across East Africa in 10 different languages in 5 different countries through our educational program as a service platform, which I'll talk a little bit about. And our ultimate goal is to make, as Annapurna was saying, AI-powered learning accessible to everyone. Our platform right now can reach learners on any device with our LEAD framework. So we can help learners of all ages learn through machine learning powered micro courses, which is available on SMS, WhatsApp, Telegram, web apps. We can reach any user where they are, no matter what device they have. We can help organizations engage their users with ongoing campaigns and push messages and information sharing. We can assess and run surveys and assessments, again, all over from text message up to web applications. And then we collect better data and information about performance and mastery through our end users. So why is this important? So even in an age of the AI revolution, knowledge and information is still really, really hard to scale, especially in under-resourced and more marginalized areas of the world. So 80% of the African population are still working in informal labor. So there's still a lot of individuals who are looking for better educational and training opportunities to increase their incomes and to generate more revenues for their families. And despite the fact that there's been an increasing connectivity and smartphone penetration across the continent, 62% of populations or households are still not full-time connected to the internet. So they can't access some of these really amazing ed tech tools and AI resources available because they still don't have the right connectivity. And we're also finding that programs are, because of this distribution and access issue, finding it 10 times more expensive than a program maybe should be to be able to deliver the right educational and training resources. So back in 2017, when we were looking at this problem, we saw that parents and teachers and everyone who wanted to learn was spending so much time and energy trying to find these resources, but they can't, as we said, access the most powerful tools. But what were they using? Basic feature phones and using SMS and USSD for things like mobile money, like M-Pesa started in Kenya, or mobile health or mobile lending. So why couldn't they use it for personalized learning? And then we realized if we design for the most basic interface, feature phones without need for data or even airtime or apps, anyone can use it and benefit it and also know how to use and interact with the tools. So you can actually get really powerful and great impacts. So that's why we launched Shule, what was using. Here's a picture of, if we can all remember, these super basic feature phones that through interactive text message-based lessons and training programs, any learner can incrementally increase their skills. So we were able to build out different knowledge maps with micro lessons that tackled skills in an interactive message type basis. So if you were doing multiplication, for example, we would send a message to a learner that said, okay, remember multiplication is adding sets of numbers together. The user say, great. And then we say, okay, here's an example. 3 times 3 is adding 3 groups of 3 together. Here's a worked example. They say, great. And then we can send questions that would get, harder, easier based on their responses, and use that to also track their mastery and performance, which that we can then share with program leaders, with teachers, with institutions to help them understand actual progress and mastery in real time. So this works in local languages. This can reach anywhere, even in really remote marginalized communities. And through that, we could ensure equitable reach of AI to people who really want to use it the most. And we ended up launching to provide these education programs as a service to organizations, because we found that, similar to what a lot of my the other panelists were talking about, AI is amazing as a tool, but if we can't implement it and deploy it at a program level, it doesn't have the impact that we're trying to have. So we saw many organizations who are running training programs were cobbling together a lot of different solutions. Some of their end users could have connectivity, but some were just on SMS. So they're using multiple different solutions to try to train and reach them. A lot of tools that they were brought in had kind of hard-coded journeys and language, so they weren't able to actually adapt if certain learners wanted to use, let's say, mother tongue or other local languages. A lot of these different tools and platforms didn't integrate, so there was a lot of missing data and information that had to be aggregated, and a lot of missing insights. And a lot of systems that people are using on the ground were ones that were brought in a decade plus ago, and so really weren't designed and couldn't be able to take on board some of these really cool Gen AI and no-code, low-code tools of today. And so that's where, again, thinking about how do we take all the great use cases of AI, but deploy them in a way that works for an organization all the way down to the end user. That's why our approach is thinking about how can we make sure that one platform works for every user along the chain. So with a program as a service approach, again, you can deploy AI through personalized learning over text message, and that same approach can now adapt the content to someone who wants to use WhatsApp or who wants to use a web application. You can also get the right information back across the different languages that allows for a really flexible scale across your different programs and stakeholders. Through a lot of the innovations, again, of today, now organizations don't have to rip and replace their existing tools, which is really expensive. You can plug in your current content management, CRM, and data collection softwares into one place, like through our platform. So we can help you collect and understand the insights from all of your different users. And we continue to think about how do we bring in like the best models, but also the most useful models. It doesn't have to be the fanciest tool on the back end. It just has to work for organizations down to end users. So even though we started thinking about Gen AI over SMS in 2018 because we were very cool, we didn't necessarily have to use it at that point, but now we're using it to allow us to scale and grow our content and data analytics capabilities. So some case studies of how this has been successful to date, which we're really excited about. Mshule is presently working with the Teachwell Consortium, which is focused on child-centric teacher professional development, particularly in refugee and host communities, so pretty under-resourced communities in Kenya. So we have been brought in as the low-tech teacher professional development platform to be able to reach refugee and host community teachers and support them in learning through play. So we were able to work with different members of the consortium to adapt the professional development content into SMS-based learning modules, so could reach people even in the most kind of remote contexts. We were able to deploy and then send out these modules in a staged basis based on whenever the teachers had time to engage with the content. And then we were able to take the progress and performance and now share it back with the whole consortium so people could understand how we could continue to adapt and send out more information as the teachers needed. So in the progress to date, this program has been going on for a little more than a year now. Teachers have already been able to report increased confidence in their learning. They've been able to start using child-centric teaching principles and learning through play in the classroom. And eventually this program will reach and impact more than 300,000 students in refugee and host community contexts. So that's one really exciting example of how designing for the best way possible, the lowest common denominator, allows everyone to benefit from the impacts of personalized learning. We did something similar with the World Child Cancer Program. They were trying to teach community health workers, people on the ground, to better identify signs of early childhood cancer. So as similarly, again, we're able to adapt the screening content into SMS and Telegram and WhatsApp modules, send them out to users in the field, which again is amazing. You can just do it on the fly no matter where you are. And the program was able to statistically significantly improve community health workers' understanding and confidence in identifying the signs of childhood cancer. And then children were successfully referred to treatment at a higher rate than before. So we're already seeing really cool impacts on learners' health there. So I've been speaking a bit quickly, but if I had any final reflections on this 8-year plus journey of thinking about conversational AI for impact, is this really just a return to core principles and product design and developing really successful interventions. AI is a tool like any other. What people really care about is if it makes a difference and it makes your life easier, make your outcomes better. So even early on in the Mshule career or journey, people were interrogating us or asking us about our models. And we were upfront and saying, we're using a lot of rule-based algorithms at the moment because that's what makes a difference for the end users. What they cared about was that we sent an automatic message back that said like, hey, Boniface, you're doing an amazing job, more so than having all the fanciest analytics at the end of the week. So really continuing to design around the needs of your users and what they want to see is where AI can really help and augment the work that we're already doing. Another thing that we recognize is a lot of the existing models are not trained on diverse data sets, again, as I'm sure we all know very, very well. And what the work of Mshule and a lot of people here, I'm sure, is digitizing the undigitized. So there's a lot of data that's lacking in AI right now. And so we really need to think about how we can continue to promote inclusive AI and making sure that the data that we're using is actually reflective of the end users that we're seeking to support. And then finally, I'll also echo what other panelists have said in that education and training are all fundamentally human endeavors. And we learn the best when we have really strong educators and supporters around us. That's true for everyone. So especially in these under-resourced contexts, what we've found is that we actually spend a lot of time building up kind of communities of practice almost. And so we may be training one person over SMS on certain skills, and then that person has a group that they go then train completely offline. And that's how that's inclusive even of people who lack kind of or are maybe not literate in a certain way or don't have a device at all. So thinking about how I can augment and support the work that's already happening between people is I think my closing encouragement. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for Annapurna and the team for letting us come here and speak. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Claire. Your work really truly reminds us that equity in adult education is also about meeting the learners where they are. And I'm smiling because I really think that with accessible and localized and affordable and familiar tools, we can actually empower our educators. So when I think about one takeaway or reflection from your presentation, it is that sometimes the most transformative innovations are not the most high tech, but they are those that connect directly to the needs and the hearts of our communities. And I think your last reflection is a very nice way to end our panel and to remind us of our core purpose, which is that AI should power up our superheroes, who are the educators, the mentors, the community learning center facilitators, who are supporting the diverse spectrum of adult learners in our different contexts and countries. So thanks again, Claire, for joining us for this panel. Given the shortage of time, I would like to really, there are many questions in the chat box, in the Q&A box. I hope the panelists are able to respond to them. But given our time limitation, I'm just going to ask each of our panelists in really short sentence to summarize maybe one takeaway that they want our adult educators and program providers to walk away from this webinar. So maybe I will start first with Dr. Milana. If you have one recommendation or takeaway that you would like to ask our community to take away from your presentation and today's panel, what would that be?
Yes, thank you very much. I think also looking at the questions in the chat, the recommendation is to consider that AI-powered tools are tools. And as any other tools, it depends how we use them. So it's not that they are good or bad per se, but it really depends on how we make use of them. And I think that's core, not to be forgotten.
Thank you so much, Dr. Milana. I think that's really powerful and important. Simple thing, but we forget it. AI tools are tools. And I would like to now ask Rashidat if she wants to add another recommendation or build on this. Rashidat, are you with us?
Yes, thank you very much. I will highlight to add just a bit to it that AI, even though it's been a tool and it can be a partner in learning, it should be used responsibly. And there should be ethical guidelines towards the usage. It shouldn't be
Thank
used effectively. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashidat. So, Rashidat is reminding us that it should be used responsibly and ethically. I think this touches upon what Caitlin you were sharing. Do you have another takeaway or recommendation for our group here?
Yes, I think just to resonate, and I think there was a fabulous question posed right at the end. I think the impacts that AI is having, not just in their capabilities, yes, they can do great things that are disrupting the way we currently do things. But I think an empowerment-based approach is really about everyone getting involved in critically evaluating who is benefiting from these transitions. And that to me is the critically important part. Yes, students using it to generate essays, we need to solve these problems. But to me, if education is not enabling people to critically reflect on why that learning is important to them, how it makes a difference in their lives, in their community, it's really, we're focusing on the wrong things to me.
Thanks, Caitlin. Thanks for highlighting again the purpose, like why is something beneficial and what is the impact it's going to have on our lives. So thank you, Caitlin. And I move now to Dr. Xiao for your recommendation or takeaway.
Oh, thank you. I think from our practice, we think human and AI collaboration is very important for us. You know, you don't want to, you don't wish AI can do anything. I think our teachers give many knowledge to AI to train AI. So we think human AI collaboration is the future and can give our learners the best experiments. So if you design the AI application, design agent, AI agent, so you must use the AI and human together to design these applications. And last, maybe our users, our students can get good experiments from your design. This is our recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Xiao, for highlighting human AI collaboration. And again, remembering that AI cannot replace humans, but rather that it's about collaboration and about, partnership. I would now move to our last speaker, Claire, for any takeaways, any recommendation or advice for our community.
Everyone has said such amazing things. I would say my final thought as I've been thinking about the age of AI and education is think a lot about what are we skilling for, and particularly in kind of marginalized environments. You know, at the end of the day, AI can be used as a tool to decrease all of that kind of the admin and the pain and the boring stuff. But we should always be thinking about how we can help our teachers and help each other really skill for like curiosity, skill for learning, skill for asking the right questions, and collaboration, I think. And making sure, yeah, we're doing it in a way that continues to celebrate like the diversity of like where we're from, rather than relying on, again, models that aren't trained for everyone. So those are things that I'm thinking about, and always love to hear other people's thoughts on that too.
Thank you so much, Claire. I think all of your perspectives, they help us to reflect and synthesize what it could mean for integrating AI in adult education. And I am walking away with like a lot of ideas for how can we move forward. But the most important thing is this discussion is just a drop in the bucket, and we have a long way to go. From exploring global frameworks to local solutions and research and practice. So I hope we can continue to engage in this way and continue our work together. But I would now hand over the floor to Rahat Zoldo-Shaliva to give the closing remarks and also to launch the course. Rahat, after your closing remarks, if there is 1 minute, I would like to show a sneak peek video of our course. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Annapurna, and thank you so much to all of you for very interesting, insightful presentations from different dimensions and different angles. I think we truly enjoyed listening to diverse perspectives, examples, but also questions that you raised. One important thing I want to highlight that at the end of the day, we have to be asking all these questions related to AI development. Our director, Ms. Kemp, has cited the emerging and worrisome environmental impact of the AI development. And it begs the question, are all AI developments necessary? Are all AI tools and agents necessary in education and learning? And I think several of you have kept raising this question again and again, and I'm very happy to see also the question has been raised in the chat box or discussion and question box as well. To get all these insights, both from the presenters, speakers, and ourselves, but also from the participants, we can clearly see that, or we are reminded of, why AI must always remain as a tool in the service of human beings and communities, and serve lifelong learning for all, for just, ethical, human-centered, and sustainable world. Today, AI agents and generative AI are being developed at a greater pace and are being applied across all spheres of our lives, from online purchases to banking to healthcare sectors and scheduling our appointments with doctors, as well as personalizing the treatments to projections of public health scenarios and so on. In order to be critical users of AI as adults and educators in particular, we have to develop skills and understandings and be vigilant on the ethical and environmental dimensions as well. This aligns closely with the Marrakesh Framework for Action, which reminds us that lifelong learning is a human right and that adult education must empower all learners to participate fully and inclusively in society. So AI tools and agents need to enhance our lives as human beings, not create more problems, I guess. In this relation, UIL is very proud to contribute to the realization of ethical and responsible use and approach to AI in adult learning and education by launching our new course entitled Digital Empowerment for Adult Educators in the Age of AI and Other Emerging Technologies. This course is available on the hub, UIL Learning Hub, which my colleague Annapurna is going to show after in a few minutes. This course aims at suggesting educators with practical strategies for integrating AI responsibly and ethically. We always encourage you to explore it, share it with other networks, but also come back to us with your experiences and suggestions. And with this, I want to really, really acknowledge the support we have been receiving to do this job, to be able to produce such courses and webinar series, to our partner, Shanghai Open University, and to the colleagues working within our team, including Annapurna Ayapan in particular, and the consultant and experts who have been helping us to shape the course content and design. And to all of you, I would like to thank for your participation, to raising an important questions across different dimensions, and kind of let us carry forward the spirit of today's discussion to ensure that AI in adult education is inclusive, ethical, and empowering. And with that, I would like to thank you all, and over to you, Annapurna, for showing the course.
Thank you so much, Rahat. Thank you to all. I would just like to echo Rahat's words and thank all our team of supporting staff, my team members, my colleagues. I would also like to really thank Dr. Caitlin Bentley, Mr. Nicolas Policastro, who's supporting us with the hub, and also the field, which is our design company. So thanks for helping us make this course a reality. And now I would really like to show you a very short video, which is actually Unit 1 video from the course. And I would like to encourage everybody to log into the platform, scan the QR code, use the link, and share with your networks. And like Rahat said, we would love to hear feedback from you on how this course is useful and what we can do to improve it. So just 1 second. Okay, you can see my screen. So here you can see my screen.
Imagine stepping into a classroom where every learner is different. Carlos, an adult educator in a rural learning center, faces this challenge every day. One learner uses only a basic phone. Another struggles to see the screen. A third is eager to try AI tools. Carlos wants to support them all, but where should he start? Printed handouts? A mobile quiz? A free AI tutor? Which of these will actually work in Carlos's classroom, and for whom? Are they inclusive, practical, truly needed? Technology in education offers exciting possibilities, but also real complexity. Not every tool suits every learner. Not every solution adds real value. So, how can adult educators like Carlos make confident, informed choices in today's rapidly evolving digital world? In Unit 1, you'll learn how to choose wisely, explore what technologies and AI can and can't do, and learn how to choose tools that truly fit your context.
So thank you, everybody. I hope this gives you a flavor of the course, and I really encourage you to join, and let's continue this discussion going forward. So with that, I would like to close this webinar, thank our speakers once again, and thank you all for your patience and your active participation, and hope to see you all again. Thank you, and bye.